Lindsay from My Crafty Plans. Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. Today I am back in front of the camera and I am going to be sharing a little Q1 recap. So basically, how have things been going so far this year? I'm going to be flipping back and forth between being in front of the camera and that top-down view so you can take a peek at some of my planners. We're going to flip through some of my favorite spreads, see what planners I've been loving lately, and just generally chat. So we're going to start with a little bit of a goals recap and a life recap. What's been going on? How am I doing on my annual goals? If you don't know, I use the Moxie Life system for my goal setting. Specifically, I use the quarterly companion notebooks, but I'm a huge fan of the Moxie Life system for goal setting. So we'll be chatting a little bit about that. And then two, I'm going to give a little update on my planner lineup, what new things have come in, what things I did not end up using, how things are going, and we'll also take a look at some of my weekly spreads and see what planners I've been gravitating towards for my weekly planners. If you haven't seen my planner lineup video, you should definitely check that out. Basically, I use Moxie Life for goals. I have a daily planner, I have a monthly planner, and then for my weekly planner, I rotate through all different things so we can take a look at which ones that I've been using the most so far this year. Then three, you may have seen on my community tab a couple of weeks ago, I posted some survey questions about how you all have been using your planners so far this year, and I've got the results of that, so I'm going to share. It's really fun. I love hearing all about how you use your planners. Always definitely leave that in the comments if you've got something to say. I want to hear it. I love hearing about how people use their planners. And then finally, I can wrap things up by sharing a couple of things that I'll be working on over the next few months, both in my life and in my planners. So if all of that sounds good, let's dive in. So starting with goals. So I have my Moxie Life companion notebooks here, and I'm going to flip us tabletop in a minute so that we can take a look at my first quarterly companion notebook, this is the one that I used from January through the end of March. But before I did that, I just wanted to generally chat about how things have gone this first quarter. January started off super strong. I had that great January goal setting energy going on and I was getting a lot of things done, but things kind of took a turn from there. If you're a regular watcher of my channel, you probably know that I've had a really difficult couple of months on a personal level. I was just not feeling my best for the most of March, but also on a family level. My mother-in-law fell at the end of January and was really badly injured, and she's actually been living with us since she got out of the hospital in February. So we've really had to shuffle a lot of things around. Obviously, I'm tremendously grateful that we were able to do that we've been able to help her, and she is doing wonderfully. Actually, it's a little preview for things to come, but she's getting ready to move back into her own house. She's doing much better. She's starting to walk a little bit, but a lot of things that we were previously working on kind of had to be put on hold while we just reaccommodated our life to manage that. We had a lot of house projects planned that we had to pause. Totally fine. Absolutely not complaining. I'm so grateful that we were able to help, and it's actually been really wonderful having her here. She's so amazing with the kids and they are just absolutely loving it. She just loves to do projects with them, to read with them, to chat with them. So that's been really fun and they've really been enjoying that. But I know she's also really looking forward to getting back to her own space, and we are also looking forward to having out all of our spaces back, of getting the kids back in their own rooms. And I'm really looking forward to the basement renovation that we've been planning, because we're putting a playroom down there and it just seemed like too much to have the construction going on while she was living here, and the toy situation in the house with the kids being in combined bedrooms and just like our lack of play area as the kids have gotten older is really starting to get to me. I do not like a lot of clutter in my spaces. I know I have like my whole office and all of my crafting supplies, but I assure you they are all most of the time very neatly organized, and I just can't stand to have all of the toys thrown everywhere. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. So I'm really looking forward to the basement playroom. So with all of that has been going on in our life, I did kind of have to shuffle my goals around or put things on pause. Even more kind of impactful on my work on my goals and just how I've been feeling. I just was in such a major funk for a lot of March. I was working on this really big work project, and then I went right to Go Wild, then right back to this really big work project with not a lot of downtime in between. And I think just by the end, I was just very overwhelmed, and I just kind of got in my head about things, and then I didn't really feel like planning. I didn't really feel like doing things, and things still had to be done, and I was just kind of forcing it, and I was just not feeling my best. I feel so much better now, though. After a few tries and a few false starts, I was able to get back to my usual groove. Even when I don't feel like using my planners, I still need them. So when we look at through my stuff, you might see a lot of like really basic looking spreads, a lot of pen only stuff, a lot of spreads where I just had to write things down, because I find planning is 100% essential to functioning on even a basic level at this point. I just rely really heavily on my planners. But that being said, I didn't always feel like doing the stickering spreads or sticking with, you know, color coding everything and getting fancy with it. And then that just sort of becomes a little bit of a cycle, because when I don't like it, I don't use it as much. And when I don't use it as much, I don't get as much done. And then I feel bad about that. So that's just kind of what went on. I'm really glad to be feeling back to my usual self. Generally speaking, I'm a fairly upbeat person. So I really was just very much not feeling like myself. While I was feeling down though, one of the only positives about this is I did so much reading, and I've really reignited my passion for reading, which I've always been a reader. And you'll see when I show you my family organizer, my monthly planner, I've started doing like these more I've started doing these reading journaling spreads, and I just absolutely love them. I'm thinking about expanding that potentially going forward. I've just totally reignited my love of reading. If you can say that, it's not like it ever went away, but I've just been having so much fun with reading and with tracking the books that I'm reading, which I previously did a really bad job with. So that's been really fun, and I have been reading an absolute ton this year, and that's been really nice as well. And even now that I'm feeling better and doing more things, I may be reading a little bit less, but I'm still reading a lot. I think so far this month in April, I've read 5 books, and in February and March, when I was like not feeling my best, I did 8 books plus some rereads and stuff like that. So, a little bit less, but still a lot. All right, with all of that being said, let's flip it tabletop and take a closer look at those goals. So here is a look at my annual goals. I'm still absolutely loving how this looks. We have our 2 pages of goals here. And then this was my Q1 companion notebook. So we can just flip through some highlights here. Again, in January, I started off really strong. I was able to accomplish a lot of the things that I set out to accomplish. And I was going with this very streamlined look in my weekly actions. And I gave myself a 7 for the month of January there at the bottom. And then we got into February. And by the time we were into February, I already knew that I was going to have to pivot a little bit. And a lot of my goals were around getting my mother-in-law acclimated, making sure the kids were all set up, and that I was still able to work on the things that I wanted to be working on while incorporating those changes into my life. So that's kind of where I got started with this. And honestly, I was able to accomplish all that stuff really well. To be honest, that's the kind of person that I am. Like, if there is a deadline, I will meet it. It's when things are a little bit more flexible, or I have that grace of time to work on, that things get a little bit more hazy for me. I'm definitely a very deadline driven person, and I don't always respect internal deadlines I impose on myself, whereas I do always respect external deadlines. So that's just a thing about me. I'm trying to get better about treating internal deadlines like external deadlines. That's some of the takeaways that I have from my Q1 experience. I did give myself a 6 for this month, and I actually wrote afterwards that that was like probably a bit harsh, and I was just really stressed at the end of this month. And then we were going into Go Wild, was March. I actually didn't end up setting my goals for March until after Go Wild, which is a really long delay for me. I just had so much work going on before I left and coming right out of it, but I did manage to get them done. Go Wild was really amazing. I would not trade that experience for anything, but things sort of started to like kind of fall apart a little bit at this point, and I just was not really feeling all of that great for a lot of March, as I said, and I did give myself a 5 for the month. But by the end of the month, I was back mostly to myself, and now into April, well into April, I am definitely feeling 100%. So I did go ahead and score myself. Again, I had some areas increase and some areas decrease, namely, I was feeling a lot better about like work stuff and even fun. We had a lot of fun with Go Wild, with my ski trip, and with vacation planning going forward. But I was really feeling like, especially my house and my spaces were really suffering from all the stress that I was under and everything. You can't always do everything. Something always has to give. And for me, it was the house that really slid a lot. But unfortunately for me, I feel like my home is a direct extension of my mental state, and I am not able to function at my highest self in the face of a lot of mess and clutter, and I just really need my spaces to be tidy. So it's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation. Like, if my spaces are untidy, it can be a sign that I am not feeling my best and I'm not feeling like cleaning them. But also, if my spaces aren't tidy, then that also can lead to me being even more stressed and kind of gets into a little bit of a vicious cycle. So we're trying to pay a little bit more attention to how things are in the home right now, that I can, you know, sort of stay. And my husband has actually been really wonderful. He definitely knows that about me. And he's been helping a bit more with like picking up after the kids and different things like that to help me feel a little bit better and to maintain that while there was still so much going on. But now my work has also come back down, so I can go back and take more on from the home stuff. So I also completed a goals refresh. I love this process, and I did learn this from the Moxie Life, from the coaching tips that they post, which is basically once a quarter, at the end of the quarter, I go through, I give my annual goals a super careful read and make sure that they all still make sense to me. I take notes on what's working, what's not working, things I want to focus on, you know, anything that's just jumping out at me, but also things that need to be changed. So despite the shuffling, I did overall feel like my annual goals were still serving me and still serving my life. There was one actual goal that I had decided needed an adjustment. So, and that was in the fun category. So one of my goals in the fun category was around this big family vacation. And I originally been envisioning this as a spring break trip this year, which is what we did the prior year. We were able to take a really nice trip over spring break. With everything going on, we realized that that was not going to happen. And then we were kind of toying with the idea of something in the fall. The summer, we don't really like to travel a lot in the summer because of the beach time, the family beach time, but we wanted to do another big vacation. And then we had started to talk about with my wider family, like my brother and my parents, about a big family trip. And we actually have it all 100% booked now. So I feel like that goal is accomplished. Next year, next winter, we will be going away with my family, my parents, and my brother's family. We're all going on like a big resort vacation together. So I'm very excited about that. And overall, I think that was a really great goal tweak. We're still focused on having little mini trips and adventure. We've had 2 family little mini trips and adventures so far this year. We did take the kids skiing for the first time, and we also did go to Washington, D.C. during spring break, which was so much fun to get to share that with the kids, especially so soon after having just been there for Go Wild and not getting to do touristy things. It was really nice to go back and do that with the kids, and it's super close to here. I'm really glad we did that, and definitely encouraging as far as taking other little mini trips with the kids. Both of those were. But other than that, everything else, I just wrote down some things to think about, some things to focus on, or that were working or not working. But overall, my goals are still serving me. All right, now it's time to talk about changes to my planner lineup. So I am going to flip you tabletop. We're going to look at my family organizer. My main monthly planner has been one of my favorite planners of this entire year. I'm so all in on it. And we're also going to take a look at some of those weekly planners that I've been using. But before we did that, I want to talk about the 2 things that are changing in my planner lineup. The first of which is memory planning. So this is a cloud planner, and this is what I've used the past couple of years for memory keeping. And I did purchase Sadie stickers, undated weekly inserts for this, and I have not used them once. I have not even opened this. I have not taken this planner off of its shelf. I have not finished any of the 2022 memory spreads that I said I was going to work on. I have not done a stickering memory spread all year, and that's okay. I was really hoping to do this. I have half a spread finished from 2022 that I've worked on since the last time you've seen a plan with me, and that was I was working on that very early in January, but I just completely lost track of that. And honestly, right now I have no desire to restart it, and I have not been buying any weekly vertical kits. I've started using some of the stickers that I had dedicated to that from like my foil collection or my character collection, and using those in my functional planner from time to time to just kind of use those stickers, because I still love stickers. But right now I have no intention of doing any memory stickering spreads, which I know I said at the end of last year that I was planning to continue with them, but for right now that's just not happening. I'm not going to say I'll never go back to it, but for right now I'm not putting any pressure on myself, and I really just don't feel like doing that kind of stickering spread. I did add one new planner to my planner lineup. This I actually added for the first time in April. This is a Laurel Denise undated vertical planner, and I have been using this as my content planner, and I have absolutely been loving it. I will definitely be keeping this going for next month. I'm starting to show this in some of my weekly planning routine videos, and I do have an April planning video in here, and I'll do another one for May since you all seem to like that. So I've been having a lot of fun with this planner. I do think it's really cool, and it's a really good addition to my planner lineup. So let's flip it tabletop view, and I will show you some of the planners that I have been using this year. So I'm really quickly gonna flip through my family organizer, and I'm just gonna dive in just so that you can see this. I love this planner so so much. I have spoken to the EC team and have confirmed that it is coming back again. I am just all in on this, and I am so glad that I've chose this as my monthly planner, and it's really just been a wonderful addition to my planning routine. It is so functional, but it also provides me with that memory and journaling space that I was looking for, that I didn't really feel like doing the stickering spreads anymore. I wanted something that was like a little bit more journaling and a little bit more kid focused that I still felt comfortable sharing on my channel. And this has just really been truly, truly wonderful. I have been having so much fun with this. So that was my January. So anyway, that is how January turned out. I always flip through the previous month when I film my monthly setups in here, and you can kind of see the evolution of my style. This month for February, I did try and cover up the color that was in this planner entirely. I will never be doing that again. There is too much color throughout this planner. I will be spending the rest of these months working with the assigned color palette, and also really hoping that this one comes in the canvas layout for next year. I'm not sure if it will or not yet. I don't have any special knowledge to that, but if it does come in canvas, I will definitely be buying it in canvas. That way I can just pick my own theme each month. I love the little washi, the deco, to like incorporate that in here. It's really, really fun. So in February, I added in this reading journaling section. You've probably seen this on my channel, especially if you watch me on Instagram or on TikTok. The videos that I've done with like the reading setups have been pretty popular. So it's also just really fun. I make these little book stickers. They're super, super easy to make yourself. I actually have a YouTube short and an Instagram reel on how to make them, and I've just had so much fun. I'm thinking about expanding this starting in May. I don't think I left the space for it in April, I'm not sure, but expanding this to take up more of the page and doing like a little bit more of like a little book diary entry about it instead of just the rating. So that's been really, really fun as well. I previously leaving a lot of social media space in here, but I've actually taken some of that out and moved that into my new Laurel Denise planner. But yeah, so that was my February setup. And then in March, I went with the Go Wild theme. This is the one that I didn't get to film, and it's pretty messy in parts because again, that is just where my headspace was at. But I did fill all of it out. I did all of the memory keeping, the journaling. I actually did some of these stickering memory spreads, and I'd really like to do some more of these as well. If you don't know, I don't post any pictures of my kids on social media, not just planner social media, just literally any social media. We don't post pictures of our kids online. So I was a little bit reluctant to do like the stickering kind of setups in here. So if I do it in here, I will be skipping over those pages. I would do it in like a double blank page like this, and then I just wouldn't show those pages on my channel. I will let you know if I do it, but I'm also hoping to do like more little fun spreads like this with just things that are going on in my life. It was really fun. I had a great time printing these stickers and kind of printing these photo stickers and making that happen. Definitely if I did another planner meetup, I would obviously do that, but I just had a really good time with that. So again, this was the last month that I put those social media pages in like that. I have some more wild memories in there, and that was kind of my very chaotic little monthly setup for March. For April, this is where we're at right now. I've got my calendar here. We've still got our recurring schedule, the goals and habits, and my sort of school listing right here. This is where this is intended to be my little journaling space that I do at the end of the month. And this is where I had set up to do a reading log, and then I was gonna do pictures over here, but I could always swap that if I feel like I want more space. So we'll see how we're feeling at the end of the month. When I get to my May setup, we're like a little more than halfway through the month right now. So when I get to my May setup, you will see how this ends up looking, and it will be all more filled out and everything like that. I did just like do this little social media tracker up here, but honestly, I've been using the one in my other planner. I haven't even been using that, so I don't think I'll even include that next month, and I'll just save this all for sort of split listing places. So it's where I use party planning pages, all house project pages, all different things like that. And then lastly, my line a day memory keeper, and this I usually fill out at the end of the month. So that is how things stand in my family organized. So as far as weekly overview goes, these are the 3 planners that I've used the most so far this year. So the first quarter had 13 weeks according to the way that I counted it, which was starting with the week that began January 2nd and then ending with the last week in March, so the week that was split between March and April. So that's 13 weeks, and I planned 3 of them in each of these planners. This is a Plum Paper Vertical Priorities in 7x9 and Erin Condren Hour Hourly Life planner and a Moxie Life Horizontal Flagship. So those have been my most used planners so far this year, and actually that trend has continued. I'm in Plum Paper again this week, and last week I was in the Moxie Life. I have not done another hourly one yet, but I'm sure I will soon. It's just I find a very specific type of week very practical in the hourly. And then of the other weeks, I did have one other one, which I planned in a different planner, which was another Plum Paper planner, their horizontal weekly overview layout. And then the other weeks, I either skipped a weekly overview altogether, which did happen a couple of times, especially in March, or I used some kind of planning notepad. I have a couple from EC. I have that favorite one from Ink and Volt that I used a lot at the end of last year. So I did 1 week in that. So just mixing it up a lot. But these are the 3 main planners that I've been using, and each of them has like a pretty different style, so it's been really fun to mix it up. I really have grown to love my hourly layouts in here. It's a very different style than the way I use the other 2 planners. It's kind of a minimal stickering setup, but I just think these come out looking really cool. And on a week where I have lots of things scheduled in, a lot of meetings, a lot of work going on, I find this very useful. That actually should not surprise me. When I worked a full-time job before I had kids, this is the planner that I use. I think this works really well as a work personal combo planner, and I found that when I was working full-time, so it should be no surprise that on weeks when I'm working more, I still find this a very useful way to plan. So I used this once in January. I actually used this the week of Go Wild, just had some fun with stickers in here, and then I used this another week where I was super busy with work, actually the last week that was in the quarter. In both the Plum Paper planner and the Moxie Life, I have been doing these kind of stickering spreads in here, so I really like the way that this comes together. The only thing that I'm not crazy about in this planner is like that the sidebar is at the top instead of at the side, and I have been trying to work around that and kind of try and figure out exactly how to do my weekly to-do list given that space. It's just not my favorite, but I do like the wider columns, so and I realize that you can't have both the wider columns and the sidebar at the top. So that is my first Plum Paper spread, this one from the week before Go Wild, and then this one in here. So the Moxie Life one, this right now is probably my favorite planner to sticker in, to be honest. I just really love using the journaling kits in here. This one was the first planner I used of the new year, so I did this was the first one, and I just absolutely love this. I think it's just a really fun look. It's maybe not as functional as the other 2 layouts, and my mind is definitely not oriented for a horizontal layout, but for just a weekly overview spread when I just have like a couple things going on each day or I want to do a daily focus, I do really like this. I also think this would make a really nice journal if I ever decide to do that. I really like stickering in here. It's very fun. So I also use this for Valentine's Day. So a lot of times I will use, if I have like a kit that I'm really excited about using, I will save it for in this planner. So those are the spreads that I've done in my Moxie Life in the first 3 months. I do have another one in April in here, so you can stay tuned for that, or actually I think the plan with me for that one is probably already up. And those are some of my weekly overview spreads from the first quarter of the year. Okay, now it is time to go through those survey results. So thank you so much to everyone who participated in this survey that I posted on my community tab. Really fun to hear about how you all use your planners. The first question did have a lot more responses than all of the other ones, but all of the other ones had a very similar number of results for comparison purposes. So just wanted to throw that out there. I'm going to put some slides across the screen, hopefully not like cutting off my head, but we'll see what happens when I pop that in with the actual results. This was just for fun, not a scientific survey or anything like that, but I was just really curious about how you all who watch my channel are answering the survey, so you can feel free to answer any of the questions if you didn't already down in the comments below, or let me know what you're thinking about planners. I always want to hear it. So the first question was actually about how many planners you use regularly, how many planners are in your stack, and 41% of you said that you use one main planner with some supporting help. So a lot of you are just focused on one planner, but you like to pull in other things from time to time. And then another 22% only use one planner, period. So a lot of people, single planner users. I think that's so awesome that so many of you are able to get everything you need in one planner. You know me, I like to spread out across lots of planners, but I love that so many of you are able to capture everything in one planner. Then 32% of you said you use a few planners that work together. And honestly, that's kind of how I think of my system. Now, I realize that one of those slots in my planner lineup, which is the weekly slot, I rotate through planners, which not a lot of you do according to the survey results, which I did put rotation as an option, and only a few people said that they rotate through planners. I am actually wondering if they are other planner content creators, other people with planner YouTubes and Instagrams, because I do think that that is something that's more popular amongst people who are creating content for the planner community, because it helps us cycle through, test different things, try different styles, and help you all out. But if I were just planning on my own and not filming anything, I probably would not be doing that. So I do kind of think of my system, if I didn't have my channels, my system would still probably be a few different planners. I am a person who likes to mix it up, but I've just been loving having like my monthly plans in a separate place from my daily plans, from my weekly plans. This year I found that is really working very well for me. I like to be able to look at multiple planners at the same time, and like having the Moxie Life stuff in the quarterly companion notebooks and then having a separate planner so that I can look at both at the same time. I personally find that very helpful. So I do think that I would still be in the multiple planners camp, but probably not quite as many as I have if I didn't have my channels. So then the next question was about what brand your main planner was. So 30% of you could not decide between just one brand. You are my multiple planner users. You said you use multiple planners across different brands, and obviously that is me as well. 27% of you use an Erin Condren as your main planner, 10% use Moxie Life, and 7% use a Plum Paper planner as your main planner, and 26% of you actually use as your main planner a brand that I didn't specifically list in the question. Some of the most popular answers from inside the comments of the survey were Happy Planner, Agendio, Hobonichi, inserts of all different shapes and sizes and brands, and then actually the Sadie Stickers planner, really popular amongst the memory planners and also the stickering users. I know that's a really great planner for stickering. It's what I intended to use for stickering, so that was really cool to see. If you ever hear of a planner or see a planner and you'd like me to take a look at it or try it out, definitely just let me know in any comments, DM me. I'm always happy to do that. I love looking at new planners. Next question, what type of planner is your main planner? So daily, weekly, monthly. Just curious about what kind of layout you all are in, and the majority of you, 43%, are in some kind of vertical weekly planner. I think that's a really great planner layout. It's not one that I use super frequently anymore, but if I was only going to use one planner, it probably would be a vertical weekly. 30% of you are daily planner lovers. You know I'm a daily planner lover. I absolutely could not be without my daily duo at this point. So really excited to see so many of you are also loving daily planning. Then 14% of you are in an hourly planner, another one of my loves. My first ever stickering planner was an hourly planner, and an hourly planner is actually what I used before I discovered the stickering side of planning. I've long been a fan of the hourly layout. And then 11% of you use a horizontal weekly layout. I love the horizontal layout. I never used one before this year, but some of my favorite spreads where I went really stickering for my weekly spreads this year have been in the horizontal layout, and I've just been having so much fun with that. Next question was about goal setting and about whether you set goals. So a little bit of a self-selecting bias. I imagine that if you're watching this channel, you're much more likely to set goals than, say, the average person anywhere. I do talk a lot about goal setting here, and nearly 75% of you do set goals. 46% using some kind of goal setting system like Moxie Life, not exclusively Moxie Life, but some kind of goal setting system, and another 23% of you just do it on your own. And another 23% of you said you don't set goals, but you know where you're headed, so maybe you've thought about it a little, but you don't formally write it down, etc. And then just a few of you are non-goal setters over here. So like I said, most people who are watching this channel, not really all that surprising given the way I talk about things, are fans of goal setting. Then next up, we're talking sticker use. So do you use stickers in your planner? 47% of you answered the way I would answer this question, that you do functional planning, but with stickers. So some deco, some functional stickers, and you like stickers in your spread. So that is also me. So again, probably some self-selecting bias, because if you're watching this channel, you probably do like a little bit of stickers in your planning. Then 20% of you do like full-on sticker spreads using the weekly kits, really decorative spreads, the kind of stickering spreads that I used to do and that I used to post videos on, which I'm currently still on hiatus from, as I mentioned before. I still love these spreads and I love looking at them. I love watching Plan With Me's in this style, but right now it's just not something that I have the bandwidth for or even the desire to do. And then then 16% of you use what I like to call the functional combo, which is a combination of like character stickers and icons with like boxes, date dots, things like that. So a functional style of sticker planning. Maybe you're not putting deco in your spreads, but you're using like a character sticker of a workout to mark a workout, or like a little doctor sticker to mark a doctor's appointment. That style of stickering, which I also am a big fan of, and I'm trying to pull in more character stickers to some of my weekly spreads to use some of the icons and character stickers I have from my memory planning days into my functional spreads. And then the last question I asked was about crafting. When I think about my own planning practice, it is an extension of my love of crafting. So I have always been a crafter. I've tried literally every crafting hobby out there, like you name it, I've got a kit for it, I've tried it. But planning and decorative planning is really the only crafting hobby I've stuck with for an extended period of time, and that is in my life constantly. Like I still do sew from time to time, which is probably my other main crafting hobby, but I'm not sewing every week or even every month. It's just like, oh, someone's having a baby and I'm going to sew them a blanket. I'm not like getting out my sewing machine every day, and I don't actually leave it out in my office anymore. Whereas planning, I am in my planners every day. I'm playing with stickers, if not every day, every week, markers, all of that kind of stuff. And I feel like for me, the reason that planning has been such a successful hobby is because it combines that love of crafting that I've always had with the really functional elements that I need to live my life. Basically, it's the perfect marriage of my creative side and my functional side, and that's why I think that decorative planning works so well for me, and why I've been able to stick with it over such a long period of time, years and years at this. So I was really, really surprised to hear 53% of you describe yourself as not at all crafty. This was the only question that really surprised me in the results. I would have expected a lot more crafters to come on over to planning, so I was really just surprised by that. Doesn't matter at all. If you love planning for a completely different reason, I'm happy for that, but just, sometimes we get so stuck in our own journey and our own way of thinking, we don't think about how other people have gotten interested in planning. So if you want to share how you got into decorative planning or how you got into planning in general, you can also leave that in the comments down below. I'm super interested to hear how people have gotten into planning. 26% of you are like me. You love to craft. You craft lots of things. You craft things for your planners. You've tried other crafting hobbies, and 17% of you make your own stickers. For this question, I said you can always make your own stickers or sometimes make your own stickers. I dabble in a little bit of sticker making occasionally. I do not make my own stickers on the regular, but I thought it was really cool that 17% of you also like to make your own stickers. And yeah, that's it. Those were the results of the survey. Again, thank you so much for everyone who answered. I just thought that was super, super fun. We'll have to do something similar again another time. If you've got any other questions you'd like to hear the answer to for people, just definitely let me know in the comments down below. That's it for today. So just to wrap things up, I just want to share a couple of things that are coming up on the channel and in my life. As I mentioned, we're getting ready to move my mother-in-law back to her own house and hopefully work on some house projects. I've been getting lots of quotes for some outdoor projects we have, or hopefully the basement renovation. So a lot of house-focused things coming up. And then after that, it's time for the end of the school year and summertime. If you don't know, we spend a lot of time at the beach over the summer. My parents have a beach house that is pretty close to where we live, so we spend a lot of times going back and forth over the summer. So I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to the kids doing camp this summer, where they all go to the same location instead of having multiple drop-off and pickup points. We will have them all in the same summer camp, and lots of fun beach weekends coming our way. So that's always something to look forward to. In terms of channel and planner stuff that I've been working on, I am in the middle of refreshing my office and just kind of reorganizing things. I just finished my washi reorg. I'm going to be working on my pen reorg some more coming on that. Definitely will be lots of like short form videos on that. And then as well, if I feel like things are different enough, I will another office tour video. I do have a current one, but if I do feel like things are very different, I'll film another one of those as well. I've also got some new planners coming, so you probably already have seen my Erin Condren launch content with their new planner designs, but I've got new planners from Day Designer, from Simplified, and from some other brands as well that I'll be taking a look at, so you can definitely stay tuned for that. If you have any planners you want me to take a look at, let me know. I'm happy to do that. Or any things in my process that you'd like me to elaborate on more, you can always send me a message or leave a comment on any of my videos, and I will try and make that happen. No guarantees, obviously, but I will try and make it happen if I can. And that's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a really wonderful Q1 and are going into April super strong. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out all of that fun stuff that's coming. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at MyCraftyPlans for even more planner fun, and I will talk to you all next time. Bye!